Iran has officially rejected America's peace terms. At the same time, thousands of US troops are now on their way to the region. So the question is, are we about to see this war escalate even further? President Donald Trump says the US offered Iran a 15-point peace plan. The deal included limits on Iran's nuclear program, partial lifting of sanctions, and an end to the bombing. But Iran's response was a flat no. Iranian officials even mocked the negotiations, claiming Trump was negotiating with himself. So what exactly was in this deal? In reality, it looks very similar to past US proposals. Strict nuclear limits and missile restrictions, and an end to funding proxy groups. In exchange, sanctions relief. But here's the problem. Iran doesn't believe it's losing the war, and that changes everything. While talks about talks continue, US troops continue to head towards the region. Thousands of Marines and airborne troops are expected to arrive within days. But what will they actually do? There are three main possibilities. Deterrence, simply posturing forces to pressure Iran, seizing strategic targets like key oil infrastructure, or the spearhead of a major direct escalation inside Iran itself. And one target keeps coming up, and that is Kharg Island. Kharg Island is critical to Iran's economy. It handles the majority of the country's oil exports, around 2 million barrels a day. Some US officials believe seizing it could cripple Iran financially. While there is no doubt that the US military could take the island in short order, the difficulty would be that those same troops would be well within range of Iranian missiles and drones launched from the coast, which is only about 25 kilometers away. Airstrikes and missile strikes on the Iranian sites would reduce that threat but would not eliminate it. It would also trigger a massive retaliation by way of Iran attacking infrastructure of other Gulf nations. They have threatened to do this, and it's believed that it's not an idle threat. The financial impact of this happening would be colossal and will be felt for years. Even if the US succeeds, there's a bigger risk. Iran has already shown that it can disrupt the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important oil routes in the world. There are reports coming out that it may already be mined, and when it comes to mines, just the threat of their use alone can cause major disruption. Ships won't want to transit if they think the waters are mined, even if in reality they're not. If this escalates, it's not just Iran that suffers. The entire global economy will take a hit. There's another option on the table. Large-scale strikes on Iran's energy infrastructure, power plants, electric grids, civilian systems. Trump has threatened it before, despite the fact that it would probably be a war crime, but recently stepped back, as it is thought it would trigger a direct retaliation across the Gulf. One key problem in this conflict is the way the two armies fight. They don't fight the same way. The US operates like a traditional military power, and traditional military forces have a long history of difficulty when up against guerrilla tactics, which is exactly what the Iranian regular and IRGC forces would use rather than facing the US in a conventional fight. These tactics are very effective, as was proved to be the case in Iraq and Afghanistan. Iran is not only a huge country, it also is very mountainous, which always suits the defender. That makes a clear victory much harder to achieve and will probably make one impossible in the first place. Despite heavy strikes, despite leadership losses, Iran's government is still standing. And right now, it doesn't feel pressured to compromise, despite what Trump is saying. At the same time, the US hasn't clearly defined what winning looks like. The constant stream of unverified information coming out of the White House has only added to the confusion and goes some way in supporting what most analysts are saying, and that is that the Trump administration doesn't have a coherent plan at this stage and is trying to dig itself out of a mess of its own making. And that leaves us here, with troops moving in and both sides refusing to back down. So what happens next? A limited operation, a major escalation, or a last-minute deal? Right now, all three are possible. But one thing is clear, and that is that putting boots on the ground has the potential to be a very bloody affair for all involved. Not to mention the extraordinary damage that it would do to markets and the global economy in general. If you want clear breakdowns of global conflicts like this, hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.